identity is so important. I think we realize the importance of it more when we're children than we actually understand the consequences of the identities we've created for ourselves when we're adults. And identities are usually formed through labels. These could be labels that we've given ourselves, labels that we've picked up from others, labels even that have subconsciously stuck to us, even if we're not completely aware of it. And there's nothing wrong with labels per se. Labels can be very helpful in getting us from one point to the other. When we start a new job, for example, and we're given a title. And usually when we just begin, we don't really feel like we quite fit in that title. You know, we feel like we have to somehow prove that we're worthy of the title that we carry. And that's true in many, but I'll just use the work instance. So let's say I'm a manager. And even if I've worked to get there, there's a moment where I need to be able to shed the previous label before I can properly own the new label. And only once I do properly own the new label can I fully embody everything that label means to me. So it definitely helps us for a period. The problem is sometimes our labels get stuck because we forget that the whole point of life is growth. And we're not here to encompass a label. The labels are here to serve us. So we don't want to be servants to those labels. When we're taking on one label, there's not just the shiny side with the external side, let's say. We're also taking on its shadow side. The sticky underside that nobody sees. The side that gathers dust over the years. The side that starts to sometimes even either lose its grip or become crusty and really ingrain itself. And by embodying both sides of that label is the only way that we are truly free of it, that we are truly using it to serve us rather than it taking over. We are so much bigger than any labels we could ever attach to ourselves. And that's the main point, is like, once all we have is the identity of our labels and we don't know who we are beyond our labels, we've put ourselves into little boxes. We've limited ourselves to what can be described, but we're all divine beings, and there is no description in that. We're all children of God, and whether you believe in God or you believe in something else, it doesn't matter. What matters to me is that you understand that you're so much bigger than you're giving yourself credit for. And that labels are useful. I also had this vision of the balancing act we do to actually maintain the labels that we worked so hard to have, you know? And they could be labels of external recognition. They could be labels of internal pride of what we've created. But sometimes I had this vision of, you know, that, what is that beautiful, it's my favorite yoga pose. It's the warrior pose, right? And so you have your one arm way out in the front and your leg is way out in the back. And I had this vision of the label balancing on the bottom of the foot in the back and another one on the hand in the front. And it's so difficult. It creates such a tension. Just keeping it up, keeping up the balance, maintaining, if I'm calling myself a mother, and this is what I think a mother should look like, the minute my child gets on my nerves or I am thinking thoughts that don't fall into that label that I consider a mother, I suddenly think that somehow I'm not fulfilling what I need to do. But no, a mother is both sides of that label. A mother loves her children so much that she would do anything for them, and then there are moments where she just can't stand to hear another word from them. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's only in embracing both sides of that you allow yourself to be whole. You allow yourself to be true. It's when you resist the side you don't like that side becomes fierce. That side struggles to make itself heard. That side becomes so loud. I don't know, it's happened to me in a relationship. I remember there was a moment in that relationship, this person that I deeply, deeply loved at one point, I remember thinking, I cannot think of one nice thing to say about this person. And it was such a devastatingly horrible place to be. It was so horrible because I felt guilty. I felt, how could I love this person so much and get to the point of hatred, which I didn't think was an emotion I could properly feel, for that same person. But I did feel hatred. Because in that moment, I also felt hatred of myself because I thought I had to be different. I thought I had to be perfect. And consequently, I externalized my expectations of myself onto that other person. And so my frustrations with myself became my frustrations with the other person. When we embrace that we are capable of that beautiful shiny side of the label and also the dark dusty side, we're willing to let them drop off. We're willing to see them as what they are, a tool, something to help us get from point A to point B. And even though they drop off, doesn't mean they're gone forever. They taught us something, they brought us somewhere. There may be a time we decide to put them on again. The fact is, the more labels that we've accumulated on top of ourselves, first of all, like I said, that balancing act from before, it becomes extremely difficult to maintain. You put a whole lot of pressure on yourself, which is completely unnecessary. And you don't allow for any opportunities that might fall outside of that label to occur. The magic happens beyond the labels. Your light shines when the labels aren't there, obscuring all of that beauty and magic within you. So the more you can let go of them, thank them for their service and let them be, and show up every single day, every single minute, as whoever you feel like to show up. Isn't that freedom? Isn't that the freedom that every single one of us is looking for? I don't know about you, but that's what I'm looking for. And that's where I'm getting to. You know, yesterday I may have believed one thing and today I may believe another, because I'm in constant evolution. I'm in constant growth. And I probably won't go from one extreme to the other. I will still go within the realm of who I truly am, but who I truly am beyond the labels. Who are you beyond the labels? I would love to hear from you. Have a magical day in grace, ease, bliss, and flow.